Hey, David, it's so nice to have you on the show. How are you doing
Thank you.
today?
Fantastic as most days. Really nice. Thank you
Beautiful.
very much, Elijah.
Ooh, I love that. I love that. Okay, so I am quite excited to have you on the show today, David, for some reasons. Firstly, my interest in knowledge seeking. You know, I believe in order to transition from a chaotic situation to that of a beautiful one, it takes the application of knowledge, quality information. And you see, David, ever since I discovered that light in the Hebrew means knowledge and darkness means ignorance, I've been so keen to knowledge seeking because I do not want to remain in the dark. And that's going to make our conversation today very important to me and even to the audience. The second reason why I'm excited to have David on the show is for the sake of the listeners. David, we live in an age where information is as abundant as grains of sand. We've got a lot of informations out there. So these folks trust me for quality information. And that's why I was excited when I came across your profile because I believe our conversation is going to be a very insightful one that we will all benefit from. So I just can't wait. So for that reason, David, let's get started with your introduction. Talk to us about your journey, personal and professional journey. Let us know how you got here. Then afterwards, I've gotten some beautiful questions for you. Okay, David,
Thank,
over to you.
thank you, Elijah. Yeah, my journey is a long one from a standpoint of um, I grew up in a farming family, and everyone worked very hard, as you know, when you're farming. My dad also had businesses, so we had not only farm but business as well. He had a car dealership, a John Deere dealership, and a water well drilling company. And so I worked hard from the minute I could carry a pail or drive a tractor or a truck, and it's taken me to where I am today, which was through business. I'm a serial entrepreneur. It's been very exciting. It's been rewarding. I've been very blessed in many ways, and uh, what brought me to where we're at with energy, vitamin D, and the LED light device that we have was the fact that when Scott Hansberry and I, my founding partner in this, um, looked at what exactly we could do with this technology, we realized that UVB had such potential, such power that we could offer to people, and that really has brought me to where we are today. That we developed this device. It revolves around delivering UVB, delivering vitamin D, nitric oxide, serotonin, and BDNF and endorphins through this device, so people get all of these additional benefits besides their vitamin D. So really an exciting time for us. This has been a 3-year journey to get it to where we're at today. And needless to say, an awful lot of money as well, and some really great people. Medical advisory board that's second to none in terms of being the experts in this area, vitamin D and light therapy. And so we're very excited with what we have. We're very excited to tell people about it. So thank you for the opportunity, and thank you for bringing this to your audience.
Beautiful, beautiful. You know, there are a lot of confusion about vitamin D, and I'm going to begin the first question from there. Can you clear the confusion around vitamin D? Maybe firstly by trying to educate us on it. What is vitamin D and what are the confusions that are around it?
Good question, and a great starting point. Let's start with what it is. Vitamin D is the most important compound in our body, period. There are about 37 trillion cells in our body, 37 trillion, and almost every one of them have a receptor for vitamin D. So it tells us how important it is. Now, if you're low on vitamin D, which I'm going to get to the research and the statistics in a minute here. If you're low on vitamin D, you've got trillions of cells in your body that are sitting there waiting for this substance that will have them optimize what they can do for you and your health, and have your body respond in the most positive way. If you're low on vitamin D, they're sitting there waiting, and the vitamin D is not coming. And so what will happen? Well, we all drive vehicles, and today vehicles all have a check engine light. If something's wrong, mechanically, the check engine light comes on, and we got to take it in, plug it into the computer, and the technician will help us figure out what's wrong. If we had a check engine light, in the middle of our forehead, as an example, it would be on all the time, because 89.9% of people in the US are low on vitamin D. Now, that's low based on a very low bar. And so let's just talk about that for a minute. If you're measuring your vitamin D, it's in nanograms per milliliter in the US. And what they're calling low is below 30. But 30 just gives you the very basic level of vitamin D that will give you significant bone health. So if you're at 30, you've probably got pretty good bone health, skeletal health, as they call it. But all of the other benefits are not happening until we're above that, 35, 40, 50, 60, 70, and higher. And so we as a company recommend that people are between 60 and 100. And the researchers tell us that's kind of where they keep their own vitamin D. So irregardless of what you read as to a good level, 60 to 100 is really the right level. And when you talk to them even more, they're saying that they keep their own at 80 to 90 in that range. And so that's where we want to be. So when they define low as below 30, then you realize that if we really defined low as below 60, everybody would be low. And that is our experience as we're dealing with people. We're finding that almost everyone is low. We saw 33 people tested here just last week. And of that 33 people that happened to come into a practicing clinic in terms of functional medicine, out of the 33 people, there was one that was in range, if you consider the range being 60 to 100. And so incredibly low, and so everyone is low. So coming back to what that really means is you've got your body waiting for this compound, this vitamin D, to come to you, and it's not coming. There will be results. So we'll talk about that in a minute. How do we get our vitamin D? How would we get it up if we're low is the question. And we were designed to have vitamin D come to us through our skin, naturally produce it. When the sun hits our bare skin, our body on the surface of the skin, it doesn't go deep. Vitamin D comes from the UVB rays of the sun, and our body creates it. It gets processed in our liver and our kidneys and goes to work in our body. And that's the path it takes. And that's where, when you're low, what are the consequences? And that's where there's thousands of research studies as to what happens if we're low. And so the first thing that we can say in terms of the timeline is when people get their D where they want to, where it should be, the first thing they'll tell us is, I'm sleeping better. I have more energy. We had an 82-year-old man just recently that got back to us after he'd been treating himself for a little bit with this device. And he said, I'm riding my bike again. He got his balance back. He had to quit riding his bike because he didn't have his balance or his stability anymore. And he was very excited because he got his balance back. It's just one small thing, but it kind of can be big for you individually. Then more in the medium term, colds and flu should drop off really significantly. You can never say never. If you're next to somebody that's really contagious, you might acquire that, but it won't last long, or it shouldn't last long if your level's high. Long run, we have met many researchers, doctors, people, and I'm not a doctor, by the way, so this isn't advice, this is information. And but we've talked to researchers and doctors that tell us we know that this is going to have a huge impact long run, or it does have an impact long run in terms of various types of cancer, MS, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, all of these really, really difficult diseases. Just one example, breast cancer, which of course it's October and it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And breast cancer, as an example, women that have breast cancer in the US, the research points to the fact that they have an average vitamin D level of 17 nanograms per milliliter. Women that have vitamin D levels above 60 have an 80% less incidence of breast cancer. It's not 100, but wouldn't you want the numbers on your side? And so that's really what we're dealing with day to day. We get up in the morning knowing that we have a device here that can help millions of people avoid some of the ravages that hit their body as time goes on. Now, this is long-term attention to detail, if you will. This is playing what I like to call playing the long game with your health. And so a quick analogy is this. In June 17th, 2009, I bought a new water ski boat. I have my summer home is on a beautiful lake. The lake is very flat. And so it's wonderful to water ski on because it's really flat. Now, you don't want the boat to cause a big wake or it ruins the flat water, right? So I knew what I wanted, I'd been water skiing for years, chose a boat, bought a brand new boat, beautiful. And everybody knew that was water skiing with me, my kids and family, know that at the end of the day, this boat's getting the tarp put over it to cover it up so that the weather doesn't hit it. And the reason I tell this story is some of my neighbors at the lake do not cover their boat. And I can tell you that in 5 or 10 years, 15 years, that boat looks like an old boat again, right? And so the analogy is this. Your body is like that boat in the sense that you can go a day or two, a week. You could probably go a whole season and not put the tarp on your boat. You might not notice it. But if I didn't put the tarp on the boat for 5 years, 10 years, I'm going to notice it. So when it comes to your body and taking care of things, tarp your boat. And really take care of the details. Be sure that you're doing the things that you should be doing day to day. And one of them is keeping your vitamin D in that range. So to talk about what it takes to get it there is a bit of a discussion. Firstly, people would say, well, can't I just go in the sun then? And the answer is you should. And you go without sunscreen. Just go long enough that you don't burn. That's the key, which for someone of my complexion isn't all that long. It's maybe 15, 20 minutes, 25 minutes. Somebody of your complexion, you can be longer, but you still can't be there forever without damaging your skin. And so really important.
I got that. Very, very educating stuff. Amazing. Okay, so let us talk about, um, some people might say, um, David, can't I get my vitamin D from, oral supplements or those supplement stuffs? Is that possible?
That's the next question we get asked. Sometimes it's the first question we get asked. And oral supplements, absolutely, you can get some vitamin D from it. The challenge that we have is this. Firstly, about 1 in 4, 25% of people do not absorb or assimilate or get the use of oral supplements in their body. The research is clear, about 1 in 4. So that's of no use to them. So they have to figure out some other way to get their vitamin D. Now, this is where it gets really challenging. The other part is, even if the 75% of people that do get benefit from vitamin D orally, it's falling way short. First off, the research is clear that it does not include immunity to increase your immune response in proportion to what we would like. It will maybe a little bit, but there's been many, many studies through the FDA clinical trials that have tried to prove that oral vitamin D will increase your immune system. and they've all failed. And so that's a part of it. Will it increase the vitamin D? Yeah. Will there be some benefits? Yes, there will be. But are they extensive? No. So what we have by getting it naturally from same as sunshine, with an exception. Natural sunshine is 95% UVA and 5% UVB. The vitamin D is in the UVB, unfortunately. So that's why we need to stay out a long time in the sun to get enough vitamin D. But that's why the dermatologists get all excited in a negative way, because we're out there too long. If we burn, we do it regularly, that can cause trouble in the long run. Again, a long run situation. So really important to understand how to do it in the sun. But when we built our device, we wanted to make it as effective as possible without causing any damage. And so we are 95% UVB, 5% UVA. In other words, when you're in front of our device, you are getting a 1 to 2 minute treatment on your torso, bare skin, and on your back, 1 to 2 minutes each side, and you get the equivalent of 2 to 4 minutes total. Or in 2 to 4 minutes, you get a 2 to 4 hour equivalent of natural sunshine, but without the bad part.
That sounds like a very powerful device. I love that.
Very powerful.
Yeah, okay, but you also refer to this device as precision engineered. What does that mean? Can you explain?
Yes, it's very accurate. Now, to explain that, let me back up just a bit as to there's a lot of UVB lights out there, and I haven't seen any that are precision engineered in this sense. Most of them are a bare bulb. It's like a fluorescent type bulb. And I call that indiscriminate from a standpoint of there's no control of how close you are. There's no control of how far away you need to be, or control of the area it's treating, or the fact that you don't want UVB in your eyes. So if you have something like that, make sure you wear eye protection. So we worked long and hard with the medical people and with the engineers to get this so that we had a very consistent and yet powerful dose of vitamin D and the other benefits that I mentioned. The way we do that is it's controlled it's within a housing that, like I say, you're treating down here. Can't get it in your eyes. We have sensors. If you pull back, it shuts it off. And so very, very carefully thought out and engineered so that this was the most effective treatment that you can get. In that 10.5 by 9-inch rectangle that you're getting, where you press right up against it, like I said, with your bare skin, the engineers test 9 points within that small area. And we have the exact same dosage in all 9 points. So we know that you're getting the most possible benefits that you can get in your skin from this without having the risks.
Amazing. You see, I believe these inventions are really, really powerful, and I tell you, this is great. There are some things that you just get to learn about, and you remain amazed. Right now, I am amazed at the stuff that the device is capable of doing. It's amazing. Okay, there's this particular question I'm so curious about right now. All right. And the question is, how do I test my vitamin D, and how often?
That's a really astute question. Thank you, Elisha. The test, you can do it in several ways. You can order a test to do it at home on your own. Now, when you do that, there are tests that just say in range or out of range. Don't waste your money on that test. You need to know the exact level you're at. So you can order online a test that you use a blood spot, just a little poke to your finger, and 1 or 2 or 3 blood spots, depending on the test, dry, mail it in. You'll have your results in about a week. You can also have your doctor test it for you, or go to a lab where they do a blood draw. So you can do it that way. Now, if you happen to be anywhere near us, we have now got a instant test that we can give you your vitamin D test in 15 minutes. But it's only where we're located, so not quite as convenient. We're in Scottsdale, Arizona. So in any case, testing should be done about quarterly, is what we recommend, about every 3 months, and keep that level up on a quarterly basis. And once you know you've got it there, you are now playing the long game with your health. If you've got paying attention to your health, disease should not appear. And that really is the bottom line with why we're doing this and why we keep it up forever. This is a lifetime commitment. So we have the ability now to set our body up for success. Now, all those cells that I mentioned earlier are sitting there and they're all getting their vitamin D when they need it. And so they can perform. You're going to have more energy. You should sleep better. You should, a lot less incidence of these diseases and disorders, and you're as healthy as you can be. So,
I tell
needless
you,
to
you
say,
know,
it's not just
yeah.
vitamin D. We need to pay attention to the way we sleep, the way we eat, the way we exercise, all of these other things. This is a really major part.
Got that. You know, when you mentioned that there are 37 trillion cells in our body, oh man, that's a very complex machine, I tell you. Okay, David. So to bring this to an end, what would you like to leave the audience with, like a final thought? And to those ones who would like to reach out to you, learn more about the amazing machine. You know, you've said
Yes.
some amazing stuff ever since you started talking, and they would love to learn more. How can that be possible?
To learn more, go to our website, which is ENYRGY, energy, spelled ENYRGY.com. So that's the starting point. You can go there. If you go to the shop part, excuse me, you can go to the shop page, and you and I had put together, Elisha has negotiated a discount for his audience, which is 20%. And that discount code is uppercase E, LISHA, Elisha. And it's Elisha 20. Uppercase E, the rest are lowercase, the number 20. And that discount code will get you the 20% discount. And so that's where I would go. If people have questions, they can fill out a form right online. They can email us at contact@energy.com, spelled ENYRGY, and happy to answer questions and help people get set up for success with their health for the long, long run.
Beautiful. So, audience, just as you've heard it, 20% discount. That's a lot. Thank you so much, David. So that's going to be the end of the show, David. Thank you for coming, and thank you for sharing these thoughts with us. You know, it means a whole lot. Thank you, man.
You're doing. Thank you. Bye for now.